The NFL draft is almost here, and I am sprinting through these final rankings for the 2025 NFL draft class today. It's going to be the tight end position. I'm going to give you my top 10 tight ends in this class, but stick around until the end because I'm going to give you some honorable mentions, maybe some sleepers. But without further ado, let's get into this sucker. Starting with number 10, it's Oronde Gadsden, the second out of Syracuse, coming in at 6'5", 247 pounds. He is currently 166th on my big board. He is the son of Dolphins legend, fins up, baby, Oronde Gadsden. I remember him back in my day, but his son, former 3-star recruit from the 2021 recruiting class, became a full-time starter in 2022, where he was a first-team All-ACC, set the single-season record for receptions and receiving yards by a tight end, but he played a lot, and I mean a lot, in the slot. In 2023, he would start the first 2 games, but suffer a season-ending Liz Frank injury, unfortunately. Comes back for 2024, started all 13 games, made first-team All-ACC as a tight end, by the way, but still put up really good numbers. And when it comes to him as a prospect, straight up Mike Gesicki vibes. Might not be the best blocker. You know, play strength is a bit questionable, but he's a hella good receiver. 33 3/8 inch arms. That's a big frame, really big frame, and very sure hands, very strong hands. A 4.7% drop rate over the course of his career. He is a jump ball target. He is a big vertical threat because he's got long strides, better movement skills than your standard tight end. Ran a 4.65 40 at the combine. Absorbs contact relatively well. However, again, the play strength, I'm not impressed by it much. His route tree wasn't spectacular at Syracuse. His route running in general needs a little bit of polish. He just struggles to get consistent separation. However, if I don't see him being an inline guy. I very much see maybe big slot. Use him a lot in condensed formations, maybe as a tight end too, because the receiving upside is very fascinating. Coming in at number 9 is Thomas Fedone II out of Nebraska. He's 6'5", 245 pounds, currently 158th on my big board. And he's a former 4-star recruit from the 2021 recruiting class. And he dealt with injury early in his career. He had a rough go at it the first couple of years. He tore his ACL during spring practices as a freshman, had a redshirt. And then in 2022, while recovering, he had another knee injury. Finally got to play, got on the field in 2023, had 8 starts. He had 9 starts this past season. Not a lot of production. But you look at him and you're kind of hoping he will be a better NFL player than he was college player. Because again, a lot of his collegiate career was on the bench, nursing injury. But he's got a crazy long frame at 6'5". He's got over 34-inch arms. Provides a huge garage door type of radius, type of window for his quarterback to throw into. So he's kind of this ideal contested catch guy, jump ball guy on contested catches over his career, 53.8%. That's a pretty darn good number. Solid hands and a very smooth athlete. Like, he's demonstrated a solid route tree over in Nebraska, being able to run more complex routes compared to your average collegiate tight end. Good build-up speed. He's got that 4.7 speed, ran at the combine. And high effort blocker. Is he the best blocker? No, kind of lacks ideal mass and play strength, but he's an effort blocker. He's willing, he's able. He doesn't mind scuffing it up with defensive linemen. He'll center up and hold on for dear life. And I don't mind that. However, Alex brought this up at the Senior Bowl, right? Hated this dude's posture after the play was over. Hunched over. And y'all know Alex from Hail Mary Sports. When he goes in, he goes in. Like, goodness gracious, Alex. This man, this boy has a family. He has a father and a mother that love him. Calm down. I don't really care too much about the posture, but he does run high. He plays high. Not on drugs. Talking high pad level, tall. And that kind of hurts what he can do. Well, for one, as a blocker because of leverage. But 2, it doesn't allow you to be a nimble athlete when you can't gear down, as they say. He just doesn't sink well and properly dig his cleat into the turf, and not always explosive out of his breaks because of that. So there's that. It reminds me a ton of Josh Oliver, like good receiving tight end and a willing blocker. Now he's kind of this tight end 2 around the league that you feel good about, and I think Fedone could eventually be that. Before we talk more prospects, gotta give a shout out to our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. If you download the app and sign up using promo code BROSHMO, they will match your first deposit up to $1,000 reduced. It's the best place to play weekly best ball, or my favorite, higher or lower on player stats. Baseball season's back, so hey, you want to get on that action, or maybe basketball. Well, they do all kinds of sports, maybe esports if you follow that. But it's a fun way to play, and if you do sign up, don't forget, it's promo code BROSHMO. But as always, please play responsibly and play within your means. At number 8 is Jalen Conyers out of Texas Tech. He's 6'3", 263 pounds, currently 157th on my big board. I promise we'll get closer to the top 100 eventually. But he's a former 4-star recruit out of the 2020 class. He also played basketball in high school, redshirted his freshman year at Oklahoma, ended up transferring, going to Arizona State, where he had 1 start in his debut there in 2021. Did play in all 12 games in 2022, and he finished 3rd on the Sun Devils in receiving yards despite having no starts. And 2022 was that breakout year. He had like 18 some forced missed tackles, which is pretty darn high number for reference. Tyler Warren had 19 this past season. So we thought, okay, here comes the breakout. And then in 2023, he had 5 starts. Not much happened. There wasn't anything really good going on offensively with the Sun Devils. Transfers to Texas Tech, where he had 3 starts, but was kind of a big contributor because, well, he had a passing touchdown. He did a lot of the Wildcat quarterback stuff, had 2 rushing touchdowns that way, and it ended up being second team all Big 12. So while it was a fun year, didn't really expand off of that 2022 breakout season. However, he is big but shifty. Might not be the fastest guy, but golly, he moves well. He moves smoothly. Basketball athleticism, I would say, because he can glide. He's very nimble with his footwork. The change of directions, relatively solid. And while he's not a fast athlete, he's got good build-up speed. Really does. Keen at the catch point. Times the catch point extremely well. Strong hands, high points the football, will climb the ladder, has some highlight catches out there on tape. And his contested catch numbers this past season, 55.6% on contested catches. If you look at his career drop rate, 6.7%. So very good numbers, very reliable when it comes to his hands. Does have that yak ability. Again, 33 forced missed tackles over his career. A bulk of them did come in that 2022 season, but when he gets the ball, he forces missed tackles. Got that prototypical size. Love to see it. Wildcat quarterback has a passing touchdown. Means you can do some fun things with him. However, inconsistent anchor. Don't know if he's going to be like in line all the time. His blocking technique in general is just not superb. It's not great. He doesn't always cleanly latch on and tries to win with strikes, and doesn't always happen that way. He just doesn't have power behind his strikes like that. At the end of the day, I mean, if we're talking Wildcat type of player, someone you're going to gimmick up, Blake Bell comes to mind. So it was kind of a simple comp. But I think there's somewhere in the NFL where he can become a tight end 1. Does that mean he's going to be like a top 12, top 15 tight end around the league? Not necessarily, but I can see it. I can see a path. At number 7, it's Gunnar Helm out of Texas, former 3-star recruit, coming in at 6'5", 241 pounds. He is from the 2021 recruiting class. Also played basketball in high school. What did he do first 3 seasons at Texas? Not much. He was on the field goal unit, did have a few starts here and there. This year was the big year for him, though. Started all 16 games, second team all SEC, big year, 786 yards, 7 tutties. You'll love to see it. He has an ideal frame that he could definitely add more mass to. There's room to add more mass. Not exactly going to be the blocking type. Doesn't have play strength for the position, but if he could add some muscle, we can get there. We certainly could get there. I think as a move tight end, he can be effective as a blocker if you want to get him out in front of a stretch or a toss play and such. Oh, what else we got going on with him? Outstanding ball skills. I mean, I go back to that Michigan game. I think he had a couple of touchdowns in that game. I remember the one in the back middle of the end zone. Very good ball skills. I don't think he might have one drop over his career. Trying to look right now. Am I sure he never recorded? I feel like he's got a drop. I don't think. Yeah, he's got one drop. Over his career, though. That's pretty darn good. Pretty darn solid. Love to see it. Very shifty route runner. I think he's a good route runner with some yak ability. Pretty smooth. Knows when to turn on the jets. Showcase some solid bursts. And I know people are going to look at what he did at the combine and be like, it doesn't look like a great athlete to me. He ran his 40 and he got whistled back. Goes to stop. Looks like he rolled his ankle. He put a picture out on Twitter. It was swollen pretty hella good. And he proceeds to push and power through and run 2 more 40s and go through the on the field drill. So I'm just going to assume his numbers are better than that, that he's a better athlete than that because, well, I saw it on tape. I saw a better athlete on tape. He's got some alignment versatility over the course of his career. He's a high effort player, willing blocker, but I don't think in line until he actually adds some mass is going to be the go-to for him. While I kind of said, yeah, no, he's a better athlete than what we saw. He's a good, not great athlete. Just putting that out there. It is a relatively small sample size because it's only one season of high-end production. Tyler Kroft seems to be the comp. If he was a better athlete, I'd probably go with Tyler Eifert, but we're going to go with Kroft.
You like the NFL draft. Matter of fact, you love the NFL draft, which means you're going to love my draft guide. If you want to know every player your team drafts or even signs as an undrafted free agent, then this is for you. My draft guide updates every day, and you'll be able to see those updates in real time as I add new evals and player backgrounds. It'll have analytics from this year and last year. It'll have the pro day and combine numbers. It'll even have my notes from the Senior and Shrine Bowl. It's a one-time purchase of $30 via PayPal, Venmo, or the Cash App. You can check out the pinned comment or the description if you want to follow those links. And when you do purchase it, please be sure to include your email because it is a Google spreadsheet. So I'm going to require your email. Don't make me hunt it down because I will hunt you down. I will find you and I'll make sure you get your money's worth. Anywho, thanks for supporting the channel.
At number 6, it's Terrence Ferguson out of Oregon. He's 6'5", 247 pounds. Now we're getting into the real meat and potatoes of this tight end class. I got him at 85 on my big board, former 4-star recruit out of the 2021 recruiting class. Also played basketball in high school. Ended up making 8 starts his freshman year at Oregon. That's hella impressive. Played in every game in 2022 as well. 6 starts. This dude's played in every game possible for the most part for Oregon. He had 12 starts back in 2023. He was a first team all Pac-12. And then in 2024, he did miss 2 games as he recovered from an appendix being removed. Not your conventional injury there, but it is what it is. I like him, man. I like him. He's a very good athlete for the position, as reflected. 4'6", 40, 39 inches in the vert, 122 in the broad. good hands, and we'll get into the inconsistency of his hands, but does a good job of bringing the ball into his body relatively quickly. 5% drop rate over his career. This year, 8.5%. There are some inconsistencies with his hands, but when it comes to the big moments, he always came up with a catch. Just gonna say that. OPI, he is the push-off king. You saw this at the Senior Bowl. He likes to push off. He when in tight coverage situations, he likes giving the old shovel-rooney. Just is what it is. 8 penalties from the last 2 seasons. He has some blocking ability. It's better as a move tight end. So someone in motion, he can do that. But right now, the play strength needs to get better. You can see this on early contact when he does try to come off in line. If he gets roughed up a little bit, then the whole timing of the route is just gone. It's done. This is why I feel like Oregon tried to scheme a lot of his not production, but his releases, like whether he was in motion or playing like a big slot type of role. However, there is some good yak ability there. Really is. I ended up going with Daniel Bellinger, who I thought was a good athlete, good hands. Don't know about the yak ability with him too much, but as far as like a blocker, he's competitive, he's technically sound, probably best fit as a tight end too. But Ferguson, if he continues to add to his body, I think there might be a bigger ceiling than that. At number 5, it's Mason Taylor out of LSU. Fins up, baby. Coming in at 6'5", 251 pounds, former 4-star recruit from the 2022 recruiting class. He is the son of a actual Dolphins legend. A lot of Dolphins in this tight end class, by the way. Jason Taylor. Also, his uncle is the great Zach Thomas. Let's go. That's my defense growing up. Jason Taylor, Zach Thomas, Junior Seau. We had Sam Madison, Patrick Surtain. Oh, I loved that defense. His brother currently plays safety for the Wildcats, so ends up going to LSU, had 13 starts right away as a freshman. And then in 2023, started 12 games, did miss a game with an ankle sprain. And then in 2024, started 12 games, made third team All SEC, opted out of the bowl game, however. Very fluid mover, good frame, 32, close to 33-inch arms. But he's got some decent burst, can turn upfield real quickly, especially when you get the ball in his hands. He does a good job of getting it upfield and creating some yards after the catch. Very strong hands, good body control when trying to go out there and make a reception. Can just pluck the ball out of the air. You love to see it. Very high football IQ type of player. He's consistently finding the soft spots in zone, whether he's coming out of the slot or in line, in motion. Does a good job of locating the right defenders to go out there and block. He actually opened up a lot of big plays back in 2023 for Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors, just making some blocks downfield. So I love that. I got some questions about his ability to separate or lack thereof. He was rarely ever targeted down the field on plays. Just wasn't. He relies a ton on his frame to shield defenders away from the football. But hey, he's got good hands. I think I'm okay with that. Maybe needs to polish a little bit of the route running, but I really think he's a good athlete and runs good routes. He just might not necessarily have that final gear to truly create separation. I wish he could do more after the catch, but he's a tight end. As long as you're just hard to bring down, I think that's a-okay. Had 5 force missed tackles on 55 receptions. The anchor can be a bit inconsistent, but like I said, when he's on the move, when you got him in motion, it's a-okay. It's a-okay. Big fan of him. I got Cole Kmet. I think Cole Kmet was a little bit better blocker coming out, but I could see a similar ceiling for Mason Taylor. At number 4, it's Harold Fanning Jr. out of Bowling Green, coming in at 6'3", 241 pounds, currently 68th on my big board. This is a hell of a prospect. just hella fun. First off, coming out of Bowling Green, that's fun. But his tape, I mean, you see it, 1,555 receiving yards, 10 tutties. Utterly nuts. He was a 0-star recruit coming out of the 2022 recruiting class, played wide receiver, safety, and return man in high school. He missed time his junior year with a wrist injury. He was named Player of the Year in the Federal League and Northeast Inland District. He also was named Stark County Player of the Year, played basketball as well. So kind of a local legend, ends up going to Bowling Green, gets one start his freshman season. It's fine. Better days await because he ends up starting 8 games in 2023, made first team all MAC, was already on my summer watch list at that point. Like, okay, gotta find some Bowling Green tape. Didn't end up watching him until, I don't know, he craps on teams like Texas A&M and Penn State at the beginning of the year. He had a phenomenal season. Had 12 starts, was a unanimous All-American, made first team All-MAC, and broke the FBS single season record for receptions by a tight end. Had 117. Phenomenal year. He's got that dog in him. He might not check a lot of boxes when it comes to size, height, even maybe movement skills to a degree, or at least shiftiness. But golly, he has a tremendous motor. He does. Whether it's after the catch, at the catch point, or even as a blocker, he's a fierce blocker. He's competitive. He has a ton of lower body strength. I like it. Good burst. Creates initial separation right from the get-go. He has quick feet. And when it's time to change direction, he can just plant the foot and go. However, the hips, he's a bit high-hipped. People talk about outward feet. Hurts his routes. Talking about the beginning of routes. Can't necessarily be very clean or crisp out of those breaks, those cuts. It's kind of something that's been the talking point of a lot of people since the Shrine and at the Combine. However, you can't argue with the receiving upside. You can't argue with the yak ability. 32 force missed tackles is freaking insane. 2.5% drop rate is insane. He's tough to bring down. He's got reliable hands. The frame, the play strength, does it leave a bit to be desired? Sure. But he's competitive. The change of direction, lateral ability, it's hindered by him being high-waisted and whatnot. It is what it is. He is one of the best receiving tight ends in this class, even if it means he's like a big slot. So I ended up going with Juwan Johnson for the comp, another guy who functions, honestly, at best when he is the big slot. At number 3 is my boy Elijah Arroyo out of Miami, almost said Florida State. Screw Florida State. Miami to you, baby, to you. He is 6'5", 254 pounds, former 4-star recruit from the 2021 recruiting class. He also participated in track and field as a high jumper and a sprinter. Shows up to Miami, primarily was a reserve his freshman season. No biggie. Unfortunately, played in the first 4 games, had 3 starts, and then suffered a season-ending ACL tear. It was rough. He had some setbacks. Ended up being able to play in the final 5 games of the 2023 season, but he was a complete unknown commodity coming into the year. And then he ends up making second team All ACC with 13 starts. Was a great target for Cam Ward. For a special season for the Hurricanes, did it lead to any playoff aspirations? No, because we choked. But it was a good year. He is a mismatch nightmare. He's got great speed. He has demonstrated the ability to stretch the field and challenge defenses over the top. 25 of his 35 receptions resulted in first downs. He's very sure-handed, good hand-eye coordination, very soft hands, natural pass catcher, natural ball skills, 2.8% drop rate this past season. And he's a very savvy receiver. He knows how to find the soft spots in zone. He does a great job of getting upfield quickly to create yards after the catch. He's shown some lateral movement as well and can turn plays into big chunk plays from the flats. Effort, blocker, yeah, probably better on the move. And I feel like we saw a good bit of that at the Senior Bowl, where, yeah, get him out in space. He could go and land a block against a ideally smaller defender. So maybe not necessarily an inline type of guy, but I don't think he lacks enough play strength to not play in line consistently. I think he's someone you could play in line, but also you can work in the slot and have him kind of be this nightmare up the seams. Does need polish as a route runner. He isn't particularly explosive when coming off the line. Where he creates that space is through his breaks, or just run it simply in a straight line. It was a pretty simple route tree at Miami, but to be fair, ran more diverse routes at the Senior Bowl and showed a little bit of that shimmy. I ended up going with Tucker Kraft, man. I like him like Arroyo as an athlete. He showed some pretty solid ball skills. Tucker Kraft, when he came out, like, you knew he had solid ball skills, but he had some like questionable drops. Hasn't really been the case for him in the NFL though. At number 2, it's Colston Loveland out of Michigan. He's 6'6", 248 pounds. Currently 23rd on my big board, which I would say I think I'm lower on him than the general consensus, but I think that's just me liking other parts of this class, specifically the edge and defensive line positions. But he was a former 4-star recruit out of that 2022 recruiting class, played wide receiver, tight end, and a linebacker. He played basketball in high school. Of course he did. Had 5 starts as a freshman and then 12 starts in the championship season, was a first team all Big Ten. And then the quarterback left and he did the best that he could with that sloppy quarterback situation that they had this past season. Still made second team all Big Ten. He did have, shoulder surgery after the season, but he should be a full go at training camp. So that's not a worry, nor is it a concern. Absolute mismatch nightmare. Loveland's a wonderful athlete who gets top speed almost immediately. He eats up a lot of ground with long strides, big wingspan, with that 6'6" frame, and just in general, just a scary weapon in the receiving game. He's just got really good movement skills, plus route runner, very fluid mover. I'm not gonna beat a dead horse. He's a great athlete, but also he understands leverage. He knows how to sell his routes. He can find the soft spots in zone. There's a lot to really like about him here. Got some versatility. He lined up outside, in the slot, in line, in the backfield. Did a lot, and he's at his best when he's allowed, when you put him in motion. Again, specifically as a receiver, but even as a blocker, needs to add more mass. He's a young kid. He's got room on the frame. He can do it. Because as a blocker, if he's going to hold up in line, probably needs to add more play strength. I feel like sometimes he gets knocked silly at the catch point. You go to the USC game. That was a game where I thought it kind of stuck out. They just really forced the ball to him. Was it the USC game? I think it was the USC game. But really tried forcing the ball to him and just couldn't bring down some contested catch situations. As a guy, he's such a good athlete, but his ability after the catch just left me wanting for more. Just didn't seem very dynamic after the catch. Ultimately went with Dalton Kincaid, another guy who's a very good wide receiving threat. But Yakibili's kind of like, okay, it is what it is. It's fine enough. You're a good athlete. Just go out and get yards for us. But also can line up in a variety of different spots. And then at number 1, it's Tyler Warren out of Penn State. He's 6'6", 256 pounds. I don't want to talk too much about him because we've been talking about him all year. So I'll kind of run through the background real quick, as he was a former 4-star recruit out of the 2020 recruiting class. He was he played quarterback in high school, lefty as well, and was recruited as an athlete, played basketball and baseball in high school, as well as his father played football at Richmond. Grandfather played football at Wake Forest. His sister played softball at East Tennessee State, and his auntie played soccer at Delaware. He volunteers at youth football and basketball camps and church food drives. So solid human being. Love to see it. Let me get Gojo in here. Apparently he's a big Tyler Warren guy. So Tyler Warren had played in 2 games in the shortened season for Penn State back in that Rona year. Was primarily a special teamer in 2021 and really got put on people's watch list probably in 2022, where him and Theo Johnson were split in sometime. That would go on to be much of the same in 2023, but he had 12 starts and I watched him over the summer. Didn't expect to like him as much as I did, and I included him in my top 50 prior to the season. Blew that expectation out of the water. Freaking A, man. First team all Big Ten. Broke several Penn State records for the tight end position. Had over 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns, 4 rushing touchdowns, and a sick passing touchdown. He even caught a touchdown while snapping the freaking football. It's utterly ludicrous. He's a good athlete, a very good athlete. Accelerates really well, has the speed to thread it over the top. Just does a good job at creating separation. I think he's got some smoothness to his game, some fluid hips. The yak ability was on display, 19 forced missed tackles this past season. And golly, versatility. Dude, name a position. I guarantee you he lined up at it at some point over the season. It's kind of nuts. Red zone threat had, what was it? 8 touchdowns this season. 5 of them came in the red zone. Plays with that dog in him. Isn't afraid to be physical and get physical. However, does need to, I say need to, there ain't much you can do about his length. He has suboptimal length, and I think that gives him a problem blocking, whether it's trying to disengage, move on to the next, but I'm kind of fine with it. He cleaned up drops he had in 2023 and 2024, but it's worth noting he did have a drop problem, 15% drop rate in 2023. And there are times where he gets tied up in routes and is a bit late to turn and make a play on the football, though didn't really matter much this season. He was phenomenal. Got Dallas Goedert as a comp. What can I say? Those South Dakota State kids, between him and Tucker Kraft, they play good football. But before we go, let's go over a couple of honorable mentions. The next 2 tight ends that were on the outside looking in were blocking tight ends. It was CJ Dupree, who, hey, not a bad athlete for being just a blocking tight end, or at least that's how he was utilized at Alabama. If you go back to his Maryland tape a couple of years ago, he had some pass catching ability. Don't know why Alabama didn't take advantage of that. And then Jackson Hawes out of Georgia Tech, just natural inline blocking tight end. Mitchell Evans. I'm a big fan of Mitchell Evans out of Notre Dame. We'd probably be talking about him a little bit higher if not for, I think it was an ACL injury? Hey, look that real quick. Yeah, he suffered an ACL injury, and they really, this season, while he got a lot of starts, not a lot of balls came his way, and eventually he was more utilized in the passing game as the season went on. But again, Riley Leonard being the quarterback there, it was a very run-heavy system. Luke Lachey out of Iowa, you kind of hoping he's a better pro than college player. I mean, to be fair, Iowa's passing offense hasn't been good in some time. And then Josh Simon out of South Carolina, he just blew up the combine. Utterly great numbers. Very much was a kind of a big slot. Someone they'd put in motion, tear it up the seams. So there's some rawness to his game. But I suggest you go check out his tape because it's hella fun. It's hella fun. But let me know who are some of your favorite tight ends in this class, because it's a relatively good tight end class. I could have talked about guys like Benjamin Yorsek out of Georgia. There's Maliki Matavo out of UCLA. I know I butchered the last name, but at least I got Maliki right. Jack Brinstool out of Clemson. You can even talk about like Caden Price-Scorn out of Ole Miss. It will not shock me if there are 5 to 6 starters like top half of the league tight ends when it's all said and done. It's a solid class. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do that YouTube thing. And as always, you be easy, my friends. Later.